So I'm in the mall right now, in particular. See, I haven't recorded in a while, and especially depending on the lighting, I get to see exactly how tired I look. Yeah, so about these spiritual attacks, in terms of like the update on these spiritual attacks, they have been completely out of control. I don't even know how to explain it. I have so many things running through my head because this is what tends to happen to me. It's like, yeah, see, flies flying around. Like I said, as soon as I hit record, anytime I need to do anything, all of a sudden there's drama. So, yeah, there's a million and one things going through my head right now. The fact that I lost a whole gang of weight during these attacks, not last year, it was the year before. And within, I would say, the last 6 months, I probably gained all of it back. And I did a video about that, about the spiritual attack and what was happening to me and how much weight I lost in such a short period of time. And then my doctor didn't really seem to care at all, which was very interesting. Not that I was explaining to her that it was a spiritual attack, but you know, in case there was like medical stuff, I need to make sure that those types of things are ruled out. Anyways, recently I found this lady. I'm probably going to react to some of her videos, Lori Cohen, and she is essentially like an animal communicator is what she refers to it as. Because I've still been trying to look for someone to help me with my spiritual journey and understanding my gifts, and you know, because there's so many different cultures and people believe in so many different things. Every time I speak, it's like they try to trance through me and like try to take over the conversation and try to take over my words. So what happened is that, yeah, she's an animal communicator, and she said that she was taught how to do this. She explains it on she's on TikTok, and she recently, I think, started posting the same videos on YouTube. So I found it on YouTube, and then I found out that she had a TikTok. So I went to her TikTok and I saw like she had like a lot of older videos. And anyways, the point is that she said that she found some lady, and I don't even remember the actual origin story of like why she chose to do this, but basically the lady was doing webinars, and they had like a meetup group or a catch-up group or whatever on Facebook. So she said it's like within the 4 figures or something like that in order for you to actually take these courses. And basically they were learning telepathy, how to speak to your animals, and she has rescued a lot of dogs. She's done a lot of things like that, and she seems to have a soft spot for animals. So I was like, okay, I didn't know you could actually learn telepathy. Having the gifts that I have, I just figured it's like you have them or you don't. You develop them or you don't. I didn't know it was something you could actively try and do. So anyways, to get to the point, I started listening to some of the videos that she has where she's saying that these animals are giving her like these existential kind of talks basically. And I was just so confused, I guess just because if I've naturally had these gifts for a while, and it took a while, you know, I posted about my spiritual awakening and when they actually came, it's like I always just felt like I was very intuitive, very perceptive. I never actually looked at them as gifts. But then when other things started to happen in terms of things I've already discussed, I don't want to waste too much time being in the mall or whatever, but things that I've discussed already, but it's like I'm listening to her stories and I'm like, how can she not tell that she's not talking to a cat or a dog or whatever it is? Because people send her pictures and they say that the pet is either still alive or it's deceased. And then after she sends, after she does the communication telepathically, when she's talking about what the animal or the pet said to her, I'm like, sometimes I actually refer to her by her first name. And I was thinking, I'm like, wait, there's no way that she doesn't know that she's not talking to a cat or a dog. And then it started to advance with the videos that I was watching. Then eventually they're saying, oh, you know, I've been reincarnated several times. I've been a human. I've been this type of animal, that type of animal. I've been a bug. I've been all these things. And I'm like, okay, now it's starting to, you know, make sense that hopefully she gets it. And she still just seems very like oblivious. She calls herself a skeptic, which she definitely fits the definition of a skeptic. So I'm like, how many times do you have to have these conversations with these things that you don't see, but they're talking to you and telling you all this information about life and all this philosophical stuff, but you still think you're talking to a pet? Now, she has said that she still does get those types of I guess, requests where she does readings, and it's just like the pet will be like, oh, I want my mom to buy me this kind of food, or I want my dad to pet me more, or walk me more, or I like going outside for walks, or I like rides in the car or something like that. So that you could tell probably is like a pet talking to her. But when they start saying, Lori, the dog already told you this, it's kind of like, who do you not think that maybe like a human spirit or some other deity or entity is like, basically interrupting, or maybe someone sending in a picture? However this works, because I could get very deep about how possibly like this is all like leading together, but when you think about soul contracts and life purpose and things like that, she could have chosen to learn about spirituality or things like that through her being a skeptic, because a lot of people are skeptical. So if she remains a skeptic, no matter how much she's told these things, but she's still relaying the messages, then people could possibly that would not otherwise believe her. Like if I come to somebody and say, oh, I'm a psychic medium or something like that, then they might be like, huh, you talk to dead people? Like how? Or you can hear dead people, or you can communicate with other realms, other dimensions, other entities, energies. It's like no one's, people will obviously question that or think it's demonic or something like that. But for her to say a cat or a dog, which people can relate to because everybody has pets, and for her to be able to say that I still don't even understand what I'm doing or who I'm talking to or how I'm able to do this or whatever the case is. And again, it started to advance more where it's like she's talking to somebody, and finally I was like, I think that maybe it's like her spirit guides that are trying to talk to her through these, saying that they're pets or something like that. And one of them did say that, yeah, I am a spirit guide for, this person that you asked me. The pet was saying that I am a spirit guide to the person that asked you to do this reading. So I'm like, okay, now it's starting to get somewhere. Like, I think she's catching up, and she's still skeptical. So I'm like, what is she skeptical about at this point? It's like, how many times does this thing have to happen or tell you these various pets, these like not random things, but they go like really deep. Like, I suggest checking out her channel. I think it's just under her name, Lori Cohen. Lori and last name Cowen. But there's like a few specific videos I wanted to do reactions to. I'm trying to remember the one I was listening to on the way to the mall. I can't remember the exact details, but again, it was one of those deep philosophical ones where it's like, trying to explain, the theories of life and, what we value versus what we don't value, what we understand versus what we don't understand as human beings, and when we're on earth, and whether we're in the spiritual realm, what we learn before we come here, just plans, decisions, things that we've made and done, and our past lives and paths and life paths and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I really highly doubt that a cat or a dog is going to be going in that much depth. So anyways, yeah, I don't claim to know how everything works, but I just find it very interesting that as many times as she's heard it, she still remains skeptical. But like I said, I have my own personal, I wouldn't say beliefs, but my interpretation of what I think is happening with her. Someone actually interviewed her, which I thought was really interesting, and I watched it a couple of times because I kept dozing off. But I'm going to watch it again, and she's basically asking her questions, and I think that's the lady that actually ended up saying that, because I think she asked the person to read her cat, and she ended up saying that the cat ended up telling her that she is a spirit guide for her owner, and that she's just there to help her. There's also this guy, Cash Peters, that I mentioned before, and he has a cat. There's the last video I have to watch about him. He has a cat, and his cat was dying, and he had the cat for about 2 years before it passed away. So I started looking at those videos. I think I looked at one of them, but there's a couple that he has talking about how, because he is what he calls an energy empath, so he can only, I wouldn't say only read, but he reads things by touching them and getting the energy from them. So he can like go to a building and touch a wall, touch a gravestone, touch a rock, and get the energy from it. So he basically can only read things, I think he said that when they're dead. So when they're in transition from dying to wherever they go afterwards, which most spiritual people believe to be a universal consciousness, which they refer to as God, or you can call it any name, but it's just like a collective that we are all, as Wayne Dyer said, and I think he quoted it from another book, individual expressions of God. So we're all little pieces of God. So yeah, he does what he calls transition pictures. So he will draw what he sees or what he feels energetically, and then what he sees from that energy into pictures. So he'll do like people who have passed away and how they felt after they died. Like he did Kobe Bryant, and you know, he's talking about when Kobe died, that he's basically like looking around like, hey, like where did everybody go? Like what's going on? So there's a lot of different types of people out there who are very in tune, and I'm noticing that there seems to be a thread that's kind of being created where I'm finding a lot of things in common with people who are connecting to these higher level, what do you call them, elevated souls or elevated energies or entities. Like there seems to be a thread that's developing. I'm going to make some notes about it and see like what I believed, because a lot of things are resonating with what I already know. And then my spirit guides were trying to tell me that I'm a cat, because basically what that girl Lori was saying is that when she does these readings on these animals, that the cats seem to be like the elevated spirits or the elevated souls, that they know more, and that dogs are stupid. And whenever like she's reading a cat, she would always say like, yeah, the dogs are stupid. And then one of the recent readings I was listening to, she said the dogs are telling all of our secrets. And she's like, what secrets? She's like, the secrets about the cats. And I'm just like, what is she talking? What is a cat and what is a dog to her? Especially since I realized that she's not always reading just a cat or a dog. It could just be like a reincarnated soul. It could be some other soul that's like just coming in. At one point, I think she said only one time that did she recognize that a person was actually talking to her, because it was like a cat or a dog or something like that, and then said, okay, well, I'm done now. She's going to come in, and she's like, what are you talking about? And then she communicated with someone's grandmother. So I was just like, okay, so I think she's going to start getting it. And then she's still like, I don't know what happened. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I think that's why my spirit guides were calling me a cat, because there's a whole story behind that too, which is so I can't even get into right now. It's so crazy. I am feeling extremely dizzy. My back is killing me. It's like I've been having so much muscle tension, problems sleeping. There's still like knocking and banging on my walls and like all kinds of disturbances. And I honestly don't even know what to do at this point. I feel like something's happening to the point that it wants me to get back into old practices that I used to have, like in terms of keeping up with spiritual hygiene. And that's not something I lack doing. It's just something that is being like very difficult for me to maintain because of all the symptoms that I'm having. It's like, imagine if you have the flu, which it did project those symptoms on me the other day. But it's like, imagine if you have the flu and your whole entire body is in pain. And it's like you can barely move. The last thing that you're thinking about doing is certain spiritual activities that require a lot of movement, a lot of this, a lot of that. Even when I've tried meditating, they've tried like trancing through like the meditation and like flashing images that have nothing to do with what I'm trying to focus on to do my meditation. So it's just like everything has gotten increasingly difficult like as the days go by, and I'm like, how much further is this gonna go? But anyways, back to the situation I was saying where they're saying I'm a cat. I think what they're referencing is that you're seeing things and understanding things that other people can't or haven't yet, or you're an elevated soul. But I know people used to say stuff like that, like, you know, when you know stuff that maybe, you know, you're too young to know, that people will call you, you know, an old soul. So I think it's probably in reference to something like that. But yeah, I always wanted to record myself having an episode, but they're not episodes anymore. They're just continuous, nonstop. I come into the mall. It's like whatever spirits are connected to me, it's like they feel like they own me. And I really don't feel like that's the case. I think it's something I have to fight off. I just have to figure out how. But I went all the way around in a circle just to come back to talk about that Lori lady. And I wanted to find out who the person was that she got her training from, because I'm like, well, if that person knows something, maybe they're a spiritualist, or maybe they're, you know, they have some kind of spiritual understanding that they can help me to figure things out or get things in order. And I looked her up. I don't even remember her name. I'll probably insert it if anybody's interested, but she talks about her on her own channel as well. And what I did was I looked her up, and she basically is more focused on money. It's like, okay, well, here's the program, here's how much it costs, here's where you sign up. You know, she's not really talking about anything spiritual. She's not really saying like, oh, I love pets, you know, there's this, there's that. It's like everything's like a business. And then even when I was watching one of Lori's videos, was it Lori's video? I think it was her. Yeah, I think she referenced it, but somebody else talked about it too when they were looking into that person, that yeah, they basically run it like a business. This person used to be a lawyer. So immediately I was like, yeah, okay, I get it now. Like, it's kind of like she probably learned something and like found, like, for argument's sake, like a hustle. And not to say that what they're doing is not real, but they could be opening doors and portals to things that they don't even understand. Because I'm like, she has yet to say anything about spiritual attacks and other things that actual, you know, people who have spiritual gifts go through, especially if they're born with it or if it's in their bloodline. So you know, what that what that stems from, I don't know. Like, it could be that because a lot of people who do have this in their bloodline, they have done practices, or they might be connected to ancestors that have like done practices that are not agreeable with, I don't even know what to call it now, universal laws maybe, or something like that. So I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to leave it here for now. And I don't know if I'm going to post this like this, or if it's just going to be like a vlog kind of post, or I really don't know. But yeah, I just thought I would mention it because it is literally like hell just to try and buy something at the grocery store. I'm just standing here because I'm just like, you know what, let me just record this real quick because I'm getting like a little piece of energy where I can actually stop to record. Otherwise, I literally the other day was like doubled over in pain because I just could not even walk. I couldn't move. My mind was just like all foggy. I'm like dizzy. I'm walking into the store. It doesn't matter if I have a list, if I have a reminder on my phone, anything. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I cannot even remember what I even came in here for. And I'll usually have to like stop and say a prayer or do something to try and clear my mind enough for me to remember, like, okay, this is what I came here for. Regardless of whether it's written down, I'm like reading it like, what did I need this for again? Like, why did I need this for? What did I need this for again? Like, stuff like that. Okay. So what I wanted to explain, because I never get really the opportunity to do this, is as I'm going through, I hate constantly looking at myself now because I'm lacking so much sleep. I keep going to bed like when the sun's coming up. And I hate whenever I record and I can see just how puffy under my eyes are. Anyway, so basically it's like when I'm going through an attack, everything is in pain. My tongue feels like it's burning, like you just drank something really hot and burnt your tongue. My vision is blurry. My back is like locked all the way up. My head is like spinning. And it's next to impossible to even leave my house. Sometimes I liken it to almost like if you have a child or a dog or something like that doesn't want you to leave the house, and it's like grabbing your leg and like, don't go, don't go, don't go. I swear every single time, like since this thing has gotten this bad, every time I try to leave the house, I'm just like in excruciating pain and so dizzy, and then I'll usually end up leaving the house without something because it'll make me so dizzy and so focused. Because if you're trying to focus on trying to walk a straight line, because you literally feel like you're not standing on stable ground. It's like you're wobbling back and forth. Like it's not even vertigo. I don't even know what that would be called. It's like it literally feels like the earth is like not even shaking, like it's wobbling under your feet. And imagine trying to take a shower in that. That's dangerous. And it's like whatever this thing is that's attacking you kept trying to project on me, like, yeah, get handlebars or something in the shower, in the washroom, so you can hold yourself up. It's like it wants me to accommodate its challenges. And I'm just like not it's well, whether it's its challenges or not, or whatever challenges it's giving me, it's like, no, I'm not going to get off of your energy. I want you to do things to accommodate me. And I can't even get into the things about, you know, it trying to get me to eat certain foods and all kinds of stuff like that, which I think has definitely contributed to the weight fluctuation, because it's like sometimes I can't even get a sense of what I'm tasting when I'm eating my food or what I want to eat. It'll like, especially when I go to the mall and I want to just grab something real quick because I didn't eat all day. And I'm like, okay, let me grab something, and try to keep in mind that I haven't eaten and I need to eat something that's healthy. And it's like, immediately my head just starts spinning and it's projecting all these things on me, like always wanting me to eat fast food and junk. And I'm just like, no. If not, it's like the same type of food always, over and over and over again. Something that I either already have at home, I already plan to make, but it's like, okay, spend 15, 20, 30 bucks eating it at the mall and then go home, and then you have to end up like just having to either throw it away because it spoils, or you know, take the chance, like you said, you're hungry, and just eat it at the mall and then just deal with whatever. So this spiritual attack has cost me quite a bit of money too. I can't even put it into, like, it's definitely, what is that? Yeah, 4 figures. It's probably almost over that soon. So the stories I could tell, but I'm gonna try and get this done. Wish me luck.